In preparing for parenthood, for motherhood, the first and most important practice to begin to incorporate and to look at is your communication patterns. And specifically, are you communicating in a healthy, self-honoring, and loving way? It's amazing how many stories can get in the way when we have something that's on our mind or on our hearts, something related to what our partner or someone in our life is doing. And to have the courage and also the vulnerability to really step back and check in and share what is true and what is real in real time it's easier said than done, but it's also easier with practice. Healthy communication looks like really being clear on boundaries, verbally expressing what's real in a loving and also honest way. It is around the idea of giving feedback in real time for things that feel really good within any relationship dynamic or things that don't necessarily feel so good. Healthy communication is really an umbrella term that also encompasses uncomfortable conversations, as well as some really beautiful shares and conversations. It requires self-awareness, being in touch with what your needs and feelings and wants are. It requires self-compassion and compassion for others so that you can show up and really share what is real, and also to do so in a way that's not hurtful. And it also requires this level of vulnerability. I think, about certain things that my husband Warren would do leading up to the arrival of our daughter Lila. For example, preparing meals for me a lot of the time during the week, or carving out space for us to go on a walk together. And being in the practice of telling him how much I appreciated that, and also why, allowed for him to really tune into the understanding that I feel loved and supported when I feel taken care of, when I feel like someone has really put thoughtfulness into an action or effort. At the same time, I had to have the uncomfortable conversation with Warren leading up to the birth of Lila around some of the jokes that he would make around like the placenta, or around some of my practices preparing for birth, or around kind of the idea of like some funny nicknames that were funny to him and didn't feel good for me, and having to say, hey, I know you don't have a bad intention, but I don't feel good about that, is something that was uncomfortable until it came out. And then it was like, oh, thank God, why didn't I say that earlier? A big part of early postpartum especially, but new parenthood, is that we are constantly thrown these innumerable stresses that some maybe are expected, but a lot are really unexpected, that can trigger a whole host of emotions, and it's all happening in real time, and it's all happening while wearing this hat of being caregiver, being a responsible provider for a kid. So it's often more convenient or more comfortable when things arise that don't feel good to stuff it down, to save it for later, or to plant seeds that eventually become resentment, especially around household tasks, around chores, around division of labor, around use of time. For anyone who's in a romantic relationship or partnership. So getting into the habit of learning what your communication style is and those most close around you, and then seeing what is effective and supportive for deepening your relationships and also deepening the sense of support yourself. And then also being aware of what practices or tweaks that you might be able to make in terms of speaking up when you normally wouldn't, or being more direct when you would be more subtle, or anything along that line, is an essential component for preparation for parenthood.